July 29th, 1836. We met 4 canoes manned by Sioux Indians descending the river, asking to talk. They informed us that several of their men had just killed several Chippewa. The night was still and full of stars. As I remained idle, I listened to my Indians, who were talking excitedly, and I asked what they were talking about. Brunia told me that Shagobay was teaching him to recognize the stars. Saturday, July 30th, 1836. I got up at 3:30 in the morning. We broke camp, and by 4:30 were afloat. The day promised to be fine. The Mississippi was covered with vapor, forming a mist 6 to 8 feet high, not dense enough, however, to prevent us from finding our way. At 6 o'clock, we arrived at the mouth of the Rum River, which has its source at Mille Lacs.
Joining Nicollet on the military expedition to rescue Christian missionaries at Leech Lake were several locals hired by the American Fur Company and military. The massive Brunia and his son Misabe served as translators, while the mysterious shaman Shagobay and his son Nankana prepped Nicollet on Anishinaabe culture. Here at the Rum River, Nicollet learned the history of the wars that had been fought for more than a century for sacred places in Minnesota. Shagobay, an Ojibwe Mide, or holy man, explained why the Anishinaabe people had left their homes in distant Nova Scotia to finally settle in Minnesota. It was the quest for Turtle Island, an ancient prophecy that had led the Ojibwe along the 6 previous stopping places before arriving at their promised lands in Minnesota.
So what are the 7 fires prophecies? According to Anishinaabe legends, they were visited by strange prophets who were sent with messages to guide the people not only to a new land, but also through a perilous future. The migration of the Anishinaabe began along the eastern seaboard near Nova Scotia. The first stopping place was an island that would later be known as Montreal. The second stopping place was found at a very prominent landmark, Niagara Falls. The third stopping place was Round Lake, later known as Lake St. Clair, which is near the current-day city of Detroit. As the prophecies predicted, the Anishinaabe people fell into trouble. Some abandoned the quest and remained in Michigan, while others tried to find their way around the Great Lakes. It was far to the north, upon Lake Huron, that a boy found the next clue at a place called Manitoulin Island. When European explorers arrived upon the continent, they found the Chippewa at the 5th stopping place, Sault Ste. Marie, near Mackinac Island. Still motivated by prophecy, the Chippewa Nation moved ever westward, and the 6th stopping place was located at Madeline Island on Lake Superior. It was at the Apostle Islands on Squamigon Bay where the Chippewa Nation encountered a mighty foe, the Oceti-Sakowin, known as the Sioux. Using Madeline Island as a fortress, the Ojibwe battled the Sioux for almost a century to find the 7th stopping place.
While the Ojibwe saw it as their sacred duty to find Turtle Island and the 7th stopping place, the Dakota saw it as their sacred duty to protect their homeland, especially a place known as Spirit Island. To the Oceti-Sakowin, now known as the Sioux, one of the most sacred places was the Island of Creation, which many locals claimed would move upon the surface of the water. Of the tribes in the 7 council fires, the dwellers of Spirit Lake, or Metawakaton, were tasked with protecting this sacred location. Here at a place now known as Kathio, the Ojibwe clashed with the Metawakan at the end of a century of conflict. With French weapons, the Ojibwe dislodged the Sioux and broke their hold on northern Minnesota. Even though there were few alive who had fought for Spirit Lake, tensions threatened to start a new war in the unsettled Minnesota territory.